Facebook. Hope everybody's doing well. We're live on YouTube. Hope everybody's doing well on YouTube. Hope everyone's having a nice Friday. It's Friday. It's January 29th, 2021. And we're going to do a whole bunch of things today. Hey, Tayman. Hey, Nick Crane. Hey, Lozam BTS. So the first thing I wanted to do, what's up? DJ's here. Let's see, Paul. Hi, Paul. Yeah, feel free to drop in a hello. Would love to hear from you. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Instagram, let me know that you're here. Anthony Castillo, hello. Dr. King, hello. We're going to talk about a couple things and do some practicing, I think. Kind of do some shedding, what I've been shedding, kind of things to think about when I'm shedding. Trying to do a variety of things on the live stream this year. So we're going to try to do that. Next week, I'm really excited. We're going to have a special guest on the live stream next week from Marcinkiewicz Mouthpieces. And we're going to have a big announcement next week that I'll let you wait for that. But yeah, Marcinkiewicz is going to come. They're going to be, Graham is the guy's name, and he's going to be coming, and he's going to let us know about what's happening kind of over there at Marcinkiewicz and some things that are coming up. So this is going to be super cool. I want to give maybe a preview of what it is. I've got a couple of goodies right here. I'll give you a preview of that today. But welcome, welcome. I see people joining. Glad you can be here. And okay, so the first thing is, so Chris asked if there's a new camera. Yes, I got a new camera. Started using it a couple weeks ago. Well, actually, no, it's not a new camera. It's a new lens, new setup. New setup, still kind of getting used to everything. So if there's a little audio glitches or whatever, that's why. Still trying to get everything synced up. It's a lot of moving parts. If there's anything that you should try to learn while still in COVID land is how to do a live stream potentially, and how to manage all of the technology that goes into a live stream. So if you haven't, I just got done with a great master class from the University of Georgia, which is super cool. Josh Bynum students there, trombone students, as well as the jazz program. So thanks to them for having me. That was super fun. We talked about this. Create, connect, repeat. If you can read it, my little poster back here. We talked about create, connect, repeat, and kind of all of the things that I think about in terms of developing a career, a brand, content. All of it kind of fits under this one heading of create, connect, repeat. It's both a YouTube show, and it's the name of the talks that I like to give, talking about music business, entrepreneurship, and building a brand and building your music career. So hope that that might be interesting to some of you. There's some videos on YouTube about that. But first thing is, does anybody need some Edwards lead pipes? So I know there's some people here, and this will be some people watching in the future. I have these. These are the 3 stock ones that come with a 508 slide. If anybody wants to buy them, let me know. Send me a DM or an email or something with an offer for how much you think that they're worth. They don't fit. They don't fit in my. They don't fit in my trombone. They're not useful to me. So if you want to check them out, check them out. Let me know what you think they're worth. I'm trying to get rid of them. So 3 Edwards lead pipes. Really exciting, I know. But let's see. So I got a weird message here. Hopefully the streaming quality goes back to what it was before. But we'll see what happens with that. All right, so we're going to talk about, well, first of all, feel free to drop in any questions as we go through. What's up, Gers? Thanks for being here. And what's up? I saw somebody commenting on, what's up, Quinn? Andrew Oz, the legend. So maybe I was going to talk about, some practicing ideas and things that I'm practicing. I want to hear, what are you guys practicing? What are you guys practicing this week? A couple questions came in, so let's jump into these questions here. Chris Glassman, great bass trombonist, if you don't know him. Do you have recommendations for affordable capture cards? Do I have recommendations? I used here. Elgato is the company that makes some good ones. I used this one for a while. Oh, you can't read it. Okay, here we go. HD60S, because this was the only thing in stock when this is not the best one. This is just the one that was in stock in March. So I bought this one. The Elgato 4K Cam Link is the kind of the standard. But now, see, I'm going under the desk now. But now I have this. So this is a ATEM Mini. And ATEM Mini is a switcher. So now I don't have enough cameras yet, but I was, slowly upgrading and buying more equipment. So now I can integrate an actual mixer, microphones, the cameras, all with this switcher. So I've got the switcher. It's more expensive than the ATEM, but that Elgato other one is also good. But the thing you have to contend with in all situations is mostly the lag, the latency between the camera and the audio being different. So there's some software solutions and there's hardware solutions. The best hardware solution is to run your audio into the camera and then the camera into the computer. But I remembered that I actually broke the input on my camera. So I got to get a new camera at some point to fix that. But anyway, hope that helps. Yeah, Chris says thanks. You are welcome, my friend. Hope you're doing good. And if you haven't checked out Chris and Alton Senkelar's new album, check it out. I was working on a new jazz standards yesterday. Quite fun, but I look forward to jamming again tonight. The last time Kenny Barron, Voyage, great tune. Nice. I saw a question from DJ. Let's see. If you could go back in time and stop yourself from making one professional mistake, would you? And what would you try to fix? Oh, what a question, DJ. Oh, what would I go back and fix? A professional situation. I'm sure there is one. I'm trying to think if one comes to mind. I've only stormed off the bandstand one time, and I was okay with why. So that one doesn't bother me too much. But being nervous, man, if I could go back and just not be nervous about different opportunities, I would definitely do that. I would try to be a little bit less in my own head, about projects, and a little bit less in my own head about what I need to do, and just kind of be a little bit more and hang a little bit more. I mean, I was hanging all the time in New York when I had gigs, but then sometimes there would be times I lived 2 blocks from Smoke, right? And so my heroes were playing at Smoke and I would just be at home, and I didn't go as much. I went plenty of times, but I should have gone more probably. I think that's one thing that comes to mind in terms of a professional mistake. And the mistake is just trying to actually have playing goals about who you want to play with. Anytime that I did set my mind to someone, I was been able to do it and kind of figure out what I need to do in order to make it happen, but not being big enough or taking it to heart enough maybe, and actually going and learning all of someone's music and really trying to go and play with them. That's something I'm still trying to work through, and that's what I'm working on this week, because I want to play with Chick Corea. And so I've been learning some of Chick's music. So I've been digging back through some of Chick's music this week. I was working on his tune called Bud Powell. That's what I've been working on this week. So it's a process. So I hope that helps, DJ. I hope you're feeling better. Brian from YouTube, he says, how do you go about absorbing and remembering music when you check out a new album for the first time? Well, if it's worth remembering, I definitely have to listen to it more than one time. That's for sure. I'm not able to internalize everything in one day, in one listen. It's just repeated listening, in terms of remembering it, in terms of learning it, I got to get the horn out. I got to sit at the piano. I got to play along. That's what I do. I play along with records. I never used to, but now more and more and more over the last 3-4 years of just play along with the records, man. And I would learn solos and play them with the records, but just play along the records, kind of solo over the top of whoever's soloing, and just kind of go with the flow in that way and really make it happen. So just play with records. You got to listen to a lot of times, a lot of times. That's how it goes. I'm going to try to alternate here between Instagram and Facebook. Kevin Kipanos, what was difficult about starting a career in New York, and what would you approach starting a career in New York once the pandemic is over? Yeah, the difficult thing about making a career in New York is that it's really expensive to live there, and jazz music pays very little money. So there's definitely like, for some reason, people have a stigma about like having a day job or something. Um, you have to figure out like how to make it work for you, you know? Like that's the hardest part, making it work, and like getting out there and playing rehearsals and just saying yes to everything and going to everything and really having a musical point of view. That's why I really encourage people, if they want to move to New York, a great way to do it is if you're going to go to school anyway, to try to go to school in New York, because you can absorb some of that time of breaking in while you're in school. You know, that's what I did. I had a year and a half at Juilliard. Well, technically 2 years of school, but it really, calendar wise, is only like 18, 19 months. You know, it had that whole time to like break into the scene and like get my feet wet and figure out what I was going to do and who I was going to play with and go and meet people and use your networks. You know, that's what you have to do. You have to use your networks. You have to know what kind of work is going to make you money and what kind of work is going to be for fun. Like playing at Smalls does not make you a lot of money. It's for fun, you know. Playing Broadway shows is for making money. It can be fun also, but it's like that's where you go to like make money. And you have to have a balance of gigs where you're making money, teaching, everything, and just being open to everything and being comfortable with how long it might take, you know. People told me it was going to take 7 years to break in New York. They were right. They were right. And it's just one thing at a time, you know. You never know where you're going to get that great recommendation from, you know. So you got to be giving your best all the time, making sure that you're really showing up for every gig, you know, like on time. Simon Pozone, are you on Clubhouse? I am on Clubhouse. I haven't done anything yet though. What should I do on Clubhouse, Simon? I started an account. I got an invite and I started it, but I don't know. I guess I could do this, right? I could like just add this call or this stream to Clubhouse somehow. Who else is on Clubhouse that's here? Would you rather collab with Stephen Feifke or Alexa? I collab with both of them. I've collabed with both of them. I just edited a video with Alexa this morning. I'm releasing Stephen's album. A single came out today. So Stephen Feifke, his single came out today. Let's see. Simon is on. Okay, find me on Clubhouse, man. From DJ, going off the New York question, how do you sell yourself to people who don't know you in a way that doesn't make you seem full of yourself or desperate? Yeah, you got to show up. You got to show up for the people that you know and have them recommend you. You have to like tell all of the people that you know, like, I'm available to do rehearsals, basically. That's what you have to do. You have to go and show up because like big bands always need subs, right? That's like the great way. There's reading bands that rehearse at the Union in New York every week, or at least regularly. And just start playing in big bands to meet other trombone players who will then recommend you. So you don't have to do anything except show up, tell people you're available, tell all the UNT people you know, DJ, when you get there, like, this is what I'm available. I'm free to do this. I'm free to sub for you. Sub for them for free. Don't ask for money. Just go. And that's what I did. Every person I could think of. I'm free. I'd be happy to go. And then go and do a good job. You know, be cool, do a good job. And that'll get you started, you know, and one thing leads to the next, which leads to the next, which leads to the next. And that's how you do it, for sure. Yes, Simon, please look for me. All right, here's some questions from YouTube coming in. Just want to say your album Here Now is a favorite of mine. Thanks for your music and sharing your knowledge. Hey, man, Andrew, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it, man. I'm glad you dig the record. It's one of my favorites, too. Here and Now is a good one. It was very, it was like kind of like a turning point for me, just like go for it kind of thing. It was kind of maybe some of the first two records were a little bit timid, and that one was like, this is me, bam, you know. So, and I really, really love that Duke Ellington composition on there, Single Petal of a Rose. I love that arrangement. I wish I could play it more, but what are you going to do? Can't always get what you want in this world. All right, I'm going to switch back. There's a question on Instagram. Let's see. Sir Nick, could you please play through Stella by Starlight? Yeah, probably. I can do that maybe in a little bit when there's less questions. How do you practice voice leading? Ooh, that is a really good question. All right, it's from Instagram. How do you practice voice leading? Okay, so there are a couple ways to practice voice leading. Number one, play the piano. Number one is play the piano and learn thirds and sevenths and how they connect together. That's all you got to do. Root, third and seventh. Root, third, seventh, and then play through tunes, you know. My very first lesson with Wycliffe Gordon when I was in high school, I went to his apartment, and what did he ask me to do? Accompany him on All the Things You Are. He's like, yeah, just play roots and thirds and sevenths. It's fine. And I was like, and I couldn't do it, right? So just that is enough to kind of start your journey on voice leading. And then the next step is to start playing voice leading on your trombone. So just playing, what I like to say is counterpoint with the bass, right? So we say note against note counterpoint. That means one note per chord. Improvise counterpoint against the bass using the voice leading. You know, the thirds connect to the sevenths connect to the thirds, but there's other ones too. You know, as you go, you'll start to hear different voice leading that will occur, you know. So that's one way. The next way is even more than that, to really understand harmony and theory and really think about things in terms of modes, in terms of extensions and how like triads might move that aren't like the root triad. For example, let's take like a 2-5 in E flat major. Like, so you get F minor. And so the upper structure of that is C minor, right? Of F minor, you get C, E flat, and G, gives you a natural 9. And then if I say, okay, if I take that and I move it down on B flat 7, I go C minor, and then I can play F sharp, E flat, and C, a diminished triad instead of a minor triad. And all of a sudden I have voice leading of 9 connecting to flat 9 and then 9 again on the E flat. So there's other voice leading that other than the thirds and the sevenths. So you got to kind of explore it. But voice leading is everything. Voice leading is why I love Duke Ellington. It's why I love his music, because the voice, the lines are what creates the voice leading. So we were checking out Jerry Mulligan's Line for Lions at UNT this week with my students, kind of thinking about this exact thing. It's counterpoint. It's notes against the bass. And so you have to investigate. You have to use your ears. Your ears will tell you what sounds good, but you have to take the time to investigate it and put it so high. You can play any notes you want if you voice lead well in and out of those notes. So it's so important. It's so interesting, and I love it. All right, I saw this before I get lost. He's got a question. I'm building my career from Europe. What needs to happen? Oh, so you're looking for awareness in New York, and you're in Europe. Man, if you're killing and you're putting up great stuff, meaning records, videos, interacting with players on social media, building an audience, connecting with fans, you can build up a bigger audience than any of us in the US have. I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that jazz musicians don't want to do, is they don't want to build an audience. They want to get plugged into the scene. They want to just get plugged in, like, oh, here you go. Here's the gig. Here, play at Jazz Lincoln Center. Here, play at the Blue Note. And that's how you think you build audience. That's not how you build audience. You build audience one person at a time through doing things like this, talking to people, interacting with them, sharing your music, sharing different ways of thinking, all of that kind of stuff. Like, it's not one thing that makes or breaks you. You can be anywhere, man. You don't even have to be in New York anymore. I think it's important to be in New York at some point, because I think the drummers play a different way there, and it gives you a sense of like real jazz time and feel, and it's important, I think, to go. But like, in terms of launching your career or building an audience, you can be anywhere at this point. You could be in Antarctica and it wouldn't matter, as long as you were aware of when your audience was awake and you could connect with them, you know? So Simon, I think if you want to build awareness, you're doing the right thing, showing up, talking to trombone players. So now I know who you are. Maybe we'll connect on Clubhouse or whatever. And, but anyway, I mean, I think you should go to New York at some point just to meet some people, probably. Obviously not right now, but, you know, get over there so people know who you are. You know, there's tons of players in Europe that, you know, are great. And there's nothing to do with geography. One is better than the other, you know. How does the LA music scene compare and contrast with the New York scene? I don't know, because I've never lived in LA. So I couldn't really speak to that. I've asked other people that question before. You know, LA is, so what I always hear is that there's not as much community because everything is spread out there. New York is so compact. Everyone's on the train. Everyone's close together. can go to Smalls and hang out, and you can like have a gig and then come back and like hang and all this kind of thing. So the community aspect, I think, is a little bit different. The lifestyle is different too, you know, like an East Coast lifestyle is different than a West Coast lifestyle. It's just different. It's a different speed. It's different priorities. And just whether it's good or bad, I'm not judging, but I'm just saying, like, it's just a fact. It is different. That's for sure. All right. So, okay, I'm going to go back over to YouTube here. There was a request on Instagram to play Stella, so maybe we can play. Maybe I can play Stella. I played it last week, I think, but yeah, we can play Stella in a minute here. All right, Brian Soy says, thoughts on military jazz bands. One of my best friends in the whole world is in the Airmen of Note now. His name's Chris Ziemba. He's the pianist now. We've grown up together, man. We were in high school band together. Not high school band, but we were in a band in high school together. The Eastman Community Jazz, what was it? EYJO, Eastman Youth Jazz Orchestra. That's what it was called. So yeah, it's not my cup of tea because I don't want to be in the military. That's just me. But it does not mean it's like bad. I mean, it's a great way to just play music for your life, you know? Some of those bands play in a style that I don't really dig, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, if it was my big band, it would sound different than that, but that doesn't mean that it's not good. So I don't know. I've never done it. One of my students is auditioning for the something. Falconairs, maybe. He's going for that soon. And I know I've had other students that we've, you know, prepped those auditions, and it's a great process to go through to prep for those auditions. They always choose really hard music, and it's always great to have like goals, you know, things to work on, things to shoot for. And that's one of those things, that's for sure, is trying to win one of those jobs. That's hard, man. Another good friend of mine, Javier Nero, just got a job with the U.S. Army Blues. It's great, man. He's at basic now, I think. Still, I haven't heard from him, so I think he must still be at basic training. I would think. So, there's that. Hey, Jonah, how's it going, man? All right, so I'm gonna give a little preview of things from next week. Things for next week, and you guys can tell me. You want me to play Stella, so maybe I'll play through the changes of Stella to kind of demonstrate what I'm talking about here. Get this other microphone happening. Very good. Okay. So basically, I've been playing the same mouthpiece since, what's up, Alton? What's up, Augie? I've been playing the same mouthpiece since 10th grade. And that's a Marcinkwitz CES. 6ES, sorry. Yes, I finally got a haircut, Augie. This is not the same exact one that I played since then, but it is similarly worn. I think I've had 3 of them. 3 or 2? At least 2, maybe 3. So I'll play a couple. No, I'm going to do this. I'll play like one A section on this mouthpiece, and then I've got a couple others. So you guys can let me know if you think these sound any better. I'm not saying that I'm going to 100% listen to what you say, but I would love to get your opinion and hear what people think through, just because I only say that because, you know, when it's through a live stream through your phone, and it's like, is that really how it sounds? Probably not. But okay, so I'm telling you what we're going to, kind of a preview of what's going to happen next week. So we're going to be talking with Marcinkwitz, Graham from Marcinkwitz, and he's going to give you some info about the mouthpieces, number 1, which is going to be great. But number 2, we're actually working on figuring out another kind of some customizations to this mouthpiece, which is kind of cool, which I think I might be into, because usually I don't like changing. So this is a new 6ES, and there's also a 6E, but the S is the back bore, so it's got a bigger back bore. But what I like about these mouthpieces is that they're lightweight and give fast response, and are not bright. Those are things I like about it. But so anyway, so I tried a bunch. They sent me like 15 mouthpieces, and I've been trying all different ones. And Graham will tell you all about those next week. But then he was like, you know, what would happen? Because I did some experimenting and failed miserably with like getting custom mouthpieces made. But so anyway, they made me 2 prototypes here. So this is one with their symphony, like weight, like extra weight, symphonic, or what do they call it? Concert hall. Sorry, concert hall. And then also this one, which is a different rim shape than my normal one. So I'm not super warmed up. I played a little bit in this master class I just gave, but I'm going to play. Someone wants me to play Stella by Starlight. So I'll blow through the changes of Stella by Starlight for a second here. So I got to mute this talking microphone so you can just hear the trombone. But yeah, so I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to play this one. So this one's number 2. So if you're following along live now, this is number 2, and then this is number 3. And so I want you to vote. Number 1 is just my regular one, and voting for number 1 is totally fine, by the way. Voting for number 1 is totally fine. In terms of which one you think sounds the best. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell through Zoom, so we'll give it a test. But somebody wants me to play Stella, so here goes Stella. I forgot to mute the microphone. Here's number 3. All right. So there you go. They're a little Stella and a couple mouthpieces there. So anyway, I was just trying to get used to them. People voting on mouthpieces. Nice. So there you go. There's a little Stella by Starlight. If you wanted to hear Stella by Starlight, what's up, Alton? I see Alton is here. Another great trombonist. And Austin right now. Thanks, Gers. Appreciate that. So here's a question from Dr. B. I'm enjoying using the blues scale. How far can a person get away with using the blues scale with the major thrown in 3 to my ear? Okay, well, I'm going to, it's kind of, sorry, Dr. B, I'm going to kind of rail against the use of the blues scale because the blues scale is one color and it's not one that I would encourage you to overuse. And that's the one like on B flat blues using a B flat blues scale. However, if you use a G blues scale on a B flat blues, you end up with more notes that are in the key and still sounds bluesy. So check this out. I'll try to explain what I mean. So if I go ahead and I play like B flat blues with the B flat blues scale, it sounds like this. Which is cool. However, and I also threw in the major third, just like you mentioned, throwing in the major third on that chord. But it's kind of all the notes are outside of the key. So if you hear it as it sits against the chords, almost all of those notes, like E flat, E natural, D flat, none of them are chord tones. So it gives a very strong and strident sound. And nothing wrong with that sound, but it can be very quickly and easily overused. So I encourage you to have, multiple versions that you might use of the blues scale. So on B flat, instead of doing that, B flat blues scale, I would say, oh, what if we use a G blues scale? So check this out. So now you get bluesy sounding vocabulary. However, it's actually more in the key because the G is in the key, the B flat, the C. The D flat is still that blue note, and then you get the major third and you get the F. Some people call it like Kansas City blues scale, something like that. But that's my first rant when I go to a high school and all the kids are using the B flat blues scale. I say, okay, that's great, but what about this other blues scale that also sounds good? And then you can hear the change between B flat and E flat and the 2-5-1s and actually hear the harmony. Another rant I could go on, but I won't, is the fact that like everyone starts with the blues in jazz in terms of where education begins, but it's like the blues is the exception to all the rules of harmony. So starting with it doesn't always make a lot of sense. It does in the sense that you can really quickly get people playing and improvising fast over it by saying, just use the B flat blues scale, which is true. And is a good way to get people playing. But other tunes like So What or any modal tune, you can use a major scale and get the same effect. So this is something we do at my nonprofit, the Institute for Creative Music. When we do workshops, we've gone all over the country to do these kind of workshops where we're trying to get students from all backgrounds to be improvising. And so we'll get a bunch of classical clarinet players to be improvising over Radiohead tunes or something like this. So anyway, that's my short rant. I will stop. I won't go off on this for a while. But I see some new folks here. What's up, Brian Scarborough? Hank, DC, Ellie, thanks for joining. Hope everyone's having a nice Friday afternoon. And let's see, Todd. Hi, Todd. He says hello. He says he recently got himself a trombone. Very nice. Blessing. Very good. Blessing is a nice trombone. What's up, Brian Scarborough? Great trombonist in Kansas City. Has an album out on our label on the Next Level imprint in one of his first records. What's up? There's Dave Foster saying hello. Thanks for joining. So what are you guys practicing this week? Like I was saying, I'm trying to hold myself accountable to my goal of trying to play with some more musicians that I love. And so one of those people for me is Chick Corea. So I've been working on that tune that I was talking about. It's called Bud Powell. So I've been working on that. What's up? Matt Merowitz doing great work in the publicity side of the game, fully altered media. Nice. Todd, you got a trombone for only $70. Where'd you get that trombone? Was it at a pawn shop or something? $70 is a good deal, man. Good deal. So at any rate, I've been learning this tune and it's really interesting to kind of contrast and like hear Chick play. There's this whole record called Remembering Bud Powell with Joshua Redman, Kenny Garrett, Christian McBride, and Chick, obviously, and Roy Haynes. It's a really great record, and they play a lot of his tunes, but they also play like tunes inspired by Bud Powell, like this tune, Bud Powell. And Bud Powell, I feel like, is maybe underrepresented, at least in jazz education. Sometimes it's always dependent on who the person is, of course, that the teacher, I mean, but it's always interesting to see that like Bud Powell gets left out. In my opinion, his tunes are really, really good for learning vocabulary and for just playing bebop in an authentic way. And he plays such killing lines, but people, rightfully so, focus on Dizzy and Bird and Monk. But what I wanted to say was that it's really interesting to hear Chick, because Chick's got an interesting combination of Bud and Monk when he plays these type of tunes, which is like in the bebop style. And he plays a lot of a lot of flat 5 dominant chords, but it's really interesting, man. Super interesting. So that's what I'm practicing this week. Maybe I'll try to play a little bit of that tune for you all. Okay, I see some questions coming in from Anthony. Chick created a tune called Friends. I heard of it before, but I'm willing to play it soon. Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. Nice. Kevin says his son auditioned in some top-level jazz programs on a $40 trombone. Oh, yeah. I wasn't trying to say you couldn't. You definitely can. Trombones is just like a piece of sliding metal. It's what you do with it that counts. That's why I don't switch horns that often. It's all about you and your practice and you developing a sound and you developing the technique. That's how I think anyway. He says it was at a used store here in Hamilton, Canada, but in good condition. Nice. Yeah, you can find, if you hold out, you can find some good deals. Some of my students are really good at finding deals. Elvis sees this. Elvis graduated last year. He's sending me all the time good deals he finds on horns on eBay. And also James Burton the third, if you know James Burton. He's really good at, or he was at least at one point, buying as many King 3Bs as he could. I don't think he's doing that anymore, but I'm not quite as good at that for sure. All right, from DJ, he says, not doing a lot of shedding right now. I recently got the Mark Levine jazz piano book you've talked about. Yeah, man, it's a good start on the piano. Oh, man. Dr. B, going back to the blues scale for why he wants more ranting. It's totally cool. I'm glad to answer. He says, say E minor over a G major song. No, that's definitely how you can use it. That's definitely how to use it. I would not play G blues scale over a G major song. I would play E. I don't make a difference between like a minor blues scale and a blues scale. It's all the same. Same with pentatonic. To me, no such thing as a minor pentatonic. You're playing the pentatonic from a different note. It's still the same 5 notes to me. People can kind of think about it however they want. Or they can think about minor. So, because when some people say minor pentatonic, they say A, C, D, E, G. Some people, when they say minor pentatonic, mean A, B, C, E, F sharp, right? So it's like a very unclear terminology to me. And I don't know. But in any key, in a major key, if you play the pentatonic or the blues scale starting from the relative minor, so in the key of G major playing E blues scale, you get some nice blue notes, some nice vocabulary that way. That's for sure. But I wouldn't play G blues scale over G major. It's not going to sound awesome to my ear. But I'm just one person. I'm not the end all be all. But to me, I would avoid that. Okay, Brian. This is great. So many great questions today. Thank you all for asking such thoughtful questions. Yeah, Chick Corea is amazing, Anthony. Brian says, do you think people can get started on composition through studying scores and listening a lot, even if you don't know how much actual composition theory? Yes, I do. I think you don't need to study scores even to do composition, because to me, the idea of composition, you're doing it already. If you're improvising, you're composing, So all you're doing is composing your improvisations out of time. So if you've never composed before and you want to get better at improvising, start composing melodies. So you write melodies, and then that starts to inform like, okay, so how do I figure out what harmonies goes with this? And then if you look at just lead sheets and see like, oh, what chord tones usually does melodies land on or start on, it can give you some context. But you just got to write or just sing and then transcribe what you're singing out of your phone. That's a great way to do it. Don't even worry about bar lines. Just write and just do it. Because and then if you can, get a mentor or a teacher or somebody you can bring it to and say like, okay, I think this is what I mean. Like, I think this goes together. I think this is going to be good, but have them help you find like, what are the changes? What did you mean? Like you might have D minor 7, for example, over F. That's something that happened this week with a student. He wrote D minor 7 over F. And I was like, well, that's just D major, right? Or that's just F major, because you're playing a D minor 7 voicing, D, F, A, C, E over F. Those are all the same notes. So it's just F major. So having someone that can kind of give you those little types of things can get you going. But yeah, just write melodies. Brian says write some contrafacts over familiar tunes. That's a good way to go about it. I say I have kind of a sequence in my virtual studio, a composition sequence, where we start with blues and write different kinds of blues. We listen to different types of blues tunes and write riff blues, like Sunny Moon for Two. It's a tune where it repeats 3 times. And then we write like a jazz blues. And then we write maybe like a bebop blues, where it's sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you might write like an AAB blues, or then you might write one that's more like Sandu or something like that. That's more through composed, 12 bars. And then you might move on to writing a riffy rhythm changes. And then you might write a more of a melodic rhythm changes, like I Got Rhythm. And then we might go back and write more of like a bebop line over a blues, and then a bebop line over rhythm changes. And then we might go to a songbook tune like Brian was suggesting, so that you don't have to worry about the harmony so much. You can just start composing. Just write stuff, So, I mean, there's always going to be a huge pile of stuff that never gets played for everything you just have to start writing, So you don't got to study scores. It's always helpful. Score study is even more important when you start to study like orchestration and things where you're trying to get ideas about like, how do I voice this? Or like, how do I make this this chord sound good? That I feel like takes a little bit more directed study. But just the act of composing just means you just got to compose. Just like if you want to write, you got to write. Write a book, you got to write. Write music, write. And just go, Find what works for you. Some people like to write into the computer, into Logic or into GarageBand or whatever. And some people like to write by hand. I like to write by hand and then sing things in, and then I orchestrate in the computer. So hope that helps. Got some questions coming in on Insta. How do we become legendary musicians like you? Asking for... Two Clefs. I don't know who Two Clefs is, but I'm not sure that I'm legendary, but there's your question on the screen. How to become legendary? I'm just trying to share what's in my brain, like with music. That's all. And I want to make records and all that kind of thing. So I don't know. You just keep on going is really the answer. It's a game of attrition out here. There's a lot of people I went to school with that maybe aren't playing anymore, but it's also a game of limited opportunities. And if you don't set yourself up to take opportunities as they come along, you might end up having to make a choice, about whether you can continue playing music. So I don't know. You just keep on going. That's part of it, Create a life that allows you to keep on going. All right. See you later, Anthony. Feel free to come back next week. Dave Foster, kind of famous. I don't know about that, but I'll keep on going. One day at a time, 1 week at a time. It's always a grind sometimes, for all of us, this music isn't popular music. So you have to fight and claw your way to share what you want to share, but there's so many people like all of you who are interested in talking about jazz music, and it's really great. So thanks, Dave. I appreciate the words here. Yeah, I can't wait to keep on collaborating. I've been able to keep at bay the feelings, I think, that have come with 2020 and 2021, but more or less, but it's starting to really bother me that I haven't played at all since last year, March, during the album release tour, and it all got cut short. And I really liked that music too, on Cast of Characters, and now it seems old because I wrote it like 2 years ago. But what are we going to do? We must keep on going. All right. Would you do a duo bone record? I love it, but I know not all trombone players enjoys that sound. Well, DJ, I probably will record. Probably I'll do that as a digital album. Talking about a little bit about strategy here in terms of jazz industry marketing strategy, because you definitely are touching on something important here, that like not the audience isn't that big. So for something like a duo trombone record, so I'll probably release it as a digital album, so that I can just send it out to people that are interested, and so that means other trombone players most likely, and some people will check it out, I'm sure, like a duo thing. But I've been writing a whole a whole book's worth of duets that I'm going to try to record with some different people, and so that should be fun. But you got to find different ways, different textures. That's the important thing that I think about, is like textures. Thanks for coming from Brazil. What are their thoughts on transcribing other instruments apart from ours? Yeah, man, you got to do it. You got to get vocabulary from inside the tradition and outside. So for me, that means I transcribe some Pat Metheny and Clifford Brown. Those are two big ones for me. You gotta do that. That's some Michael Brecker, all kinds of things. You got to get it, but it's like I went like this, right? So I started trombone, and then I went no trombone, only other instruments, and then I went, wait, but JJ's killing, and I came back. And then so I try to take my students on the same journey, like deep dive. Okay, what do you want to do? Who, what, where, when? What crazy stuff do you want to try to play? All right, let's do it. And it's like, all right, but what about the fundamentals? What about Steve Davis? What about JJ? What about Curtis? It's a cycle for me. Are there still vinyl cast of character albums available? No, unfortunately, there are no more vinyl cast of characters albums available. Thank you for asking, though, Kevin. Much appreciated. Okay. How much, Dr. B, how much do you practice each day? I struggle to have a regular practice session now, to be honest. It compares with 5 to 8 hours a day. When I was in college, I was obsessed with making sure that I practiced every day. Obsessed. I would bring my horn on vacation. I wouldn't do anything fun until I practiced. And now I just have so many different responsibilities that sometimes the horn ends up taking the back seat, unfortunately, which is a drag. But but if I can practice, I'll practice 3-4 hours. That would be ideal. But in college, it was like 5 to 8 hours a day. Grad school, as much as I can, Sometimes it's at home, sometimes at school, sometimes with a practice mute, sometimes not with a practice mute, sometimes doing play-alongs, transcribing, doing trombone maintenance, doing basics, every day, just trying to move the floor up a little bit, All right, we've got just a couple minutes left here. I'm gonna have to jump off. I've got a call in 10 minutes. From Two Clefs, he asks another question. Do you have performance anxiety? If so, how do you deal with that? Not so much. When I was in middle school, I had to get over it really quick. When I was in middle school, I decided I was like more of a singer, not a trombone player, really. Here's a quick one. From Isria. Isria is another killing trombone player. If you don't know Isria Butler. Transcription, written or ear? My answer is both. I do it by ear first, and then I write it down. So ear, then write it, so you can share it with other people. But performance anxiety, so I used to sing in front of large crowds when I was in middle school, and that kind of got me over my fear, because that's way more an awkward middle school version of me was way worse than like getting in front of people and playing now. But it's just important to remember that like people want you to sound good mostly, and they want you to succeed. And it's just a matter of repetition. You have to get up in front of people and play or talk, either way. Play, get in front of people as much as you can. My student, Jack, who's auditioning soon, he intentionally puts himself in situations that are going to make him nervous so he can get over it, Host a mock audition so you can put yourself in a situation where you're going to have to be in front of your peers, and they're going to judge you and tell you if you sounded good or not, So just put yourself in those situations, and eventually, I think, you desensitize yourself and you realize it's not a big deal. All right, Brian, see you later. All right, last question, I think, for this week. And again, we'll be back next week at our regular time, 1 p.m. Eastern. with Graham from Marcinkiewicz Mouthpiece Pieces, and whatever else maybe comes our way. We'll talk about mouthpieces and I like the ones I was showing you during the live stream today, and maybe some other things. So that'll be really fun or exciting. Yeah, man, do the uncomfortable thing and get used to it, from Dave Foster. That's what he says. I agree 100%. Okay, last question. When you were growing up, did you have many people around you who shared the same passion and investment into jazz and trombone like you did? No, not really. My mom played flute when plays the flute. She was not playing when I was younger. She's playing again now, but she started playing again when I got serious about music in high school, which was great. But nobody was into jazz. For me, I just fell in love with it in 10th grade, playing Ellington's music. And it took me on a path I didn't know about necessarily. And I also met Wycliffe Gordon around that time. And he came to Rochester. I happened to be in a place where, he came, and got to, meet him and get some encouragement. And then, but no, there wasn't a large amount of jazz. I mean, I was pretty nerdy, so like whatever I wanted to get into, I would kind of just get into it, deep into it. And so once that started, then that was like what I was about, it was just trombone first, though. It was definitely just trombone first, and then the jazz came later. Yeah, Israel Montage Grill. That's right. That's where it was. You probably were there. And I was in high school and super awkward. So I apologize for any awkwardness or ongoing awkwardness, really. But yeah, I just found recently a picture. I'll have to share it. It must be at school, maybe. My mom found it maybe and sent it to me. There's a picture from that night. Yeah, I figured you were there. Anyway, so that was a kind of a turning point. I don't know if it was good or bad or what, but that was it. So that's the story of growing up with not a lot of jazz around. And then, Israel was really important too in my development as a jazz trombonist. I got to Eastman. I couldn't play a darn thing. And Israel was finishing his doctorate. He was, I think that's what you were doing, finishing your doctorate. And he directed the jazz trombone ensemble there. I think it was still called Bionic Bones then, right? And Israel put me in my place more than one time, which was 100% necessary, and kicked my butt. At least that's how I remember it. But it was good. Oh, was it Masters? Okay. Masters. So anyway, Israel was very important in helping me get my stuff together, just like making me realize how much I did not have together. And I think that's really important to have in your life, is someone who will be honest and tell you when it's not together. Exactly. Here it is. He says, all love. And that's because that's what it is. It's like, yes, he's being honest. You need to get it together. So thank you. All these years later, 2005 or 6, something like that. Anyway, I got to run, but it's been fantastic to talk with everyone today. Thank you for being on. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking with Graham from Marcinkiewicz, and probably doing some playing like we did today, briefly. I know we had kind of just mostly talking today, but I'm glad everyone could be here. And we'll see you next week. So thanks for being here. Oh, man, there was more people that said hello. Hi, Will. And Jose, what's happening? All right, I got to run. Thanks again. We will catch you in the next one.